Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. This is the platform for intelligent people. We don't dumb things down to a third grade algorithm or an eighth grade article. These are complex, intellectual conversations that we are very happy to have with you. All right. I'm enjoying a little sun today, so bear with me. But we're going to finish our Q&A from yesterday. Okay. And so I think we got some good questions. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll make your questions a priority. But yeah, be a friend and tell a friend. And we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. Sorry for the extra commercial, but I had to move because the sun was coming in so beautifully, but I realized that you guys wouldn't be able to see me. So welcome to the platform, a platform for intelligent people. We're going to finish our Q&A from yesterday. We're going to finish it up today, and I'm going to dive right in. Has everybody had a great week? My coffee is exceptionally good today. Exceptionally good. Energy is exceptionally good today. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions left. Okay, that may very well take us the whole time, but I want to get through them for you. Y'all know this is my favorite thing to do. I wish we were live seeing each other, but I love Q&A and interacting with you guys. And I'll do some announcements and stuff at the end, but we'll dive into the questions. The first one for today is capitalism broken, or are we simply participating incorrectly? Is capitalism broken, or are we simply participating the wrong way? That's interesting, right? So I want to start the answer to that question off with the definition of capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system where private individuals or businesses own the means of production, right? Private individuals own the means of production. That's the baseline definition of capitalism. All right. And the difference in that is, instead of the government controlling the economy, this is the definition. Decisions are driven by private profit, voluntary exchange, and competitive free markets. Now, when you look at the type of capitalism that we've morphed into here in America, we're a little bit different from that definition. And in fact about it, if you look at my last ebook that I put out, if you don't have the ebook, go to the link in the bio, and there's a link to the ebook where I talk about government involvement in politics. And I go into detail about this subject. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Go grab the ebook. It's free. Okay. It's a free ebook that I did on this very topic. So going back to the question, is capitalism broken, or are we simply participating incorrectly? Both. Are we practicing a true form of capitalism? No. Is there imbalance in corporate involvement in government and in policy? Yes, there is a severe imbalance. Are we practicing it correctly? No. And the reason for that is, and I'm talking about us as Black people, is nuance. There's a lot of different reasons. Some of the reasons is because of barriers to entry. I think a lot of times when we start talking about capitalism, we start participating on a larger scale. Sometimes we forget the opposition that is oftentimes against us. But in a lot of cases, no, we're not practicing it to the best of our ability. And on that, I'm going to leave it on that note, so you can go grab my new ebook. Either follow me on social media, scroll around, you'll see the cover, you'll be able to click on it, or go to the link in the bio. But it's about corporate's involvement in government and the imbalance. Okay. This is good. Is college becoming less valuable for entrepreneurs? Yes and no. Most of these questions, you all ask them in a very binary way, but there's yes and no. So it depends on what you're majoring in college and what you plan on doing with the degree. if you're just like, I'm going to college, I have no aim, no direction, and you really just think that because you graduate, that you're going to have access to certain opportunities, then you probably almost wasted your time. But if you go into college with focus, I'm interested in majoring in this, I want to learn these skills, and you're very intentional, then college can be very valuable, just like any other training can be very valuable. But unfortunately, there's so many of us that leave home, we go to college, and we think, long as I graduate, I'm good. And then we come home and we're working at the local coffee shop. And if that local coffee shop has nothing to do with your skills or what you desire to do or what you majored in, then that's a problem. So, is college becoming less valuable for entrepreneurs? Again, it depends on the training. Can you become an entrepreneur without college? Absolutely. Okay. With the onset of AI and how you can use software assistant services and things like that, yes, it's very, very easy to become an entrepreneur without college. There's just about anything that you need. There's a software for it. You can use AI. Yeah. But there's certain specialty things, like some things in healthcare. Some things when it comes to certain techniques that are needed in order to deliver that good or service to the consumer, there's still a need for training and commerce. If you go into the trades, which by the way, are not a fallback if you mess up in college, to be an electrician, it may take 3 years, 5 years. Plumbing takes time, but that's a specialized training service. It says it helps a lot for college graduates to collaborate with entrepreneurs. Yeah. But it really depends on you. It depends on you, the type of college environment you choose, what type of courses you choose to take, how you begin to curate your career. That's why it's so important that with our young people, we begin to expose them to different aspects of business and corporate America as early as we possibly can. So that as they're in college and they're building these relationships and they're interacting with different studies, they have an idea of what they want to do, what they don't want to do, what they like and what they don't like, because there's been some exposure. So those summer jobs, those summer internships, just with you getting out there and being able to open your eyes and saying, I like this, I don't like that. Those are all very, very critical aspects of developing your career. So college can help you, or it may not matter, but a lot of it depends on you. Let me also say this, it can also be the inroads into something that you love. So I ended up with a dual degree in finance and accounting, and I didn't necessarily love it, but it became the inroads into business development and advisory services because of the route I took. And I now know that had I not gone that route, had I not had that major, things would not have gone for me the way that they ended up going, which I'm very, very happy about. But I also have to say to you, be okay if you went to school for something and you're like, I don't know if I like this. You just may not. And so you find something, but there's always something else that you can do, and you can likely utilize those skills that you had. I met somebody the other day who majored in chemistry and had planned on going to medical school, but decided not to do it. And now they own a restaurant. And it's beautiful. They use their skills to come up with these amazing recipes. And I was talking to them about the concept of the kitchen being the pharmacy and promoting that kind of thing. And so their chemistry skills have come, or their chemistry knowledge has come in handy. So that's all real. The key thing that I want to focus us on when it comes to college, when it comes to training, and when it comes to education, stop doing things just because somebody else is doing it. You don't know what to major in, so you see somebody else that you admire, or you hear good things about somebody else and you say, oh, I'll major in that. Stop doing that. Stop doing things that don't work with your personality. So earlier now, we have to get in touch with ourselves. I talked yesterday about there's a lot of accelerated engineering programs and tech programs. And a lot of people come here from around the country to participate in those accelerated programs because they want to get in and get out. They have something specific they want to do. They don't really want to have to take sociology if they're not going to be doing sociology. And also remember this. Everything should be about lifelong or learning. We're on this podcast at 6 a.m. I've already studied an hour this morning. So studying is important. Your spirituality is important, and your studies as it relates to that. And then your studies as it relates to your profession, something that you're trying to learn and what it is that you want to do. You can get training by immersing yourself also in an environment. I got a lot of medical training by being a healthcare developer. My business partner was determined to train me like a clinical person. And so I got a lot of training in that. And it's been amazing because it helps me have a baseline for my family and friends to be able to say, hey, maybe you should go do this. Maybe you should go to the doctor. Maybe you should do this or that. I don't give out medical advice, but I know enough to know when there's a problem and when we need to, flip a script if we get a wrong diagnosis or something like that. So it's become extremely valuable. Was it something that I could say that I would have loved to have been a clinical person? I'm glad I didn't choose that route because I don't like smells. I don't like blood. And I'm very empathic. So it's very tough for me. The years that I spent heavily entrenched in healthcare were very stressful for me because I'm very empathic. And so, seeing life and death and people struggling and sick was very difficult for me because I felt like I needed to do something about it for everybody. And if I didn't do anything, or if I just said, let me just go in the office, I felt bad about that too. So it was a tough environment for me, but I learned about myself. I learned about the skills and the environment. I learned a lot. And when I combine that now with my business acumen, it makes me deadly in that world of healthcare development. So the question is college becoming less valuable for entrepreneurs? I think college is becoming has to be approached in a more intentional manner. You don't got time to just go to college just to see how many people you can kick it with and party with. All right. Has social media made people more entrepreneurial or simply more visible? Again, it's both. A lot of people have started to make money off of social media by selling their products, monetizing content, advertising. This has become a means of distribution, a means of information, marketing, you name it. So are people more entrepreneurial on the internet today? Absolutely. Will people continue to be more entrepreneurial on the internet? Absolutely. Where's the challenge? The challenge is visibility. How do you interpret visibility, and how do you utilize visibility. Okay. I talked yesterday about, in my case, as a business and self-governance political advisor, um, a lot of my day-to-day and people that I deal with and see, I don't, nor would I ever put that on social media. I maintain that confidence. That means a lot to me. And that is part of my currency based on what it is that I do. So I won't even have a lot of people up around me, so that if somebody brings me in to handle a situation or to handle a crisis, they don't got to worry about, well, she has so-and-so with her and they may go and tell or share trade secrets or whatever. Mm-mm, I don't do that. So it's all about how you utilize the visibility. Okay. So yes, people have become more visible, but there's a lot of factors at play. There's people with their own individual intentions, and then there are people who are trying to control the messaging and the imaging of the media. You know, I watch a lot of training videos, and when I start looking at what's being emphasized and how people are being focused when it comes to economics and business, it tells me a lot about who's controlling the internet. So we have to be mindful of that as well. So while this is the World Wide Web and it can be a big view, understand that there are perspectives outside of those that you will see here on the internet. And you want to be mindful of that, because what happens is sometimes the internet becomes a distraction. And it's telling us, look over here, look this way, look this way. But what's going down is that way. So while we looking this way, what's happening and what we need to be paying attention to is over here. That can be the truth with subject matters. That can be the truth with people. But there's a lot of manipulation that happens on this here good internet. And we need to be mindful of that. So had it made people more entrepreneurial or simply more visible? It's both. We are certainly more visible. Some of us live our lives out on social media. We post everything. But always think about, what impression is what you're posting giving to other people? Step outside of yourself. It's not about you, especially if your social media is for business. So I think about, is what I'm posting going to further define my niche as an advisor? Or is it going to make people go, I don't think I want to put her in front of a check? So that is something that's important to me and something that I think about. So be mindful. A lot of us can't wait to post what's going on, what we're doing, what happened yesterday, what's going on next, if we're angry, if we're mad, if we're sad. I've always approached the internet like this. Whatever I put out there gets magnified by however many people see it. Okay. So if I don't want the magnification of something that I'm angry about or something that I'm sad about to go into your vibrational crawl, so now you're handling me based on what I put out there, I may not want that, because I may not like what that produces. If I'm advocating or protesting something and I want to make that known, that's one thing. But if I'm being negative, if I'm upset about something, if I'm going through something that's really heavy, I'm not going to necessarily put it on social media if it's personal, because if I'm depressed, then now you see me as depressed and you see me as depressed and you see me as depressed and you see me as a depressed. So unless I'm trying to send that message and unless I'm trying to have that energy coming back to me, I don't put it out there. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about, What energy are you putting out there? Step back, step outside of yourself, do a quick scroll. And if you need to scrub and clean up, then scrub and clean up. If it's about memories, some people say, well, this is, my internet, my social media is about me sharing memories. Okay, that's fine. But make sure that how you earn your money is not contingent upon what you're posting. We have to think of it more than just, it used to be back in the day, people say, oh, this is my video diary, or it's more than that nowadays. Because it stays out there, people look at it. If you go apply for a job, they're scrolling through your social media. If you go for a contract, they're scrolling through your social media. If you go to the doctor, and they're not supposed to do this, but I'm telling you, it happens. When you go and check in and people see you and you look interesting, a lot of people will go and search you on social media. They will see your name if you're getting ready to get a loan. Whatever it is, they're going and searching you on social media. And a lot of times, their impression of you, they get it wrong. But nonetheless, that's what they do. So keep all of that in mind. Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Here we are. This is the last question. Are some people actually addicted to struggle? Yeah. Of course. I don't know who asked that question. And I don't know exactly what you meant, because it was probably the more basic one of them all. But so there's an aspect of struggle that is required in order for us to get to the next level and for us to experience growth, right? Think about when you put a seed into the ground, that seed is actually pushing and twisting and struggling. It almost seems painful if you speed up how it bursts out of the ground and starts to sprout and grow. So there's some struggle there. There's just like struggle when a baby is being born. There's struggle there. So struggle, in essence, is ordained as it relates to growth. What I think you might be referring to is what is happening in our community on two levels. One, in that some of us are embarrassed by struggle. Some of us want to make it look like we got it going on. We wealthy. We don't never struggle. We don't ever have no problems. And that's really a person who's very shallow. But then there's the glorification of the struggle. And I experienced this very, very early on in my life. I actually felt like in college, when it came to access to certain minority funding and certain grants, depending upon your life struggle, that was contingent upon how much money you got, if you got work, study jobs, and things like that. And when we start to base finances on struggle, then sometimes institutions that are in charge of distributing that money will discriminate or marginalize people that don't come from that struggle. That happened to me. So I know that that's real. I also know that sometimes people who do struggle don't get acknowledged. They are demeaned or looked down upon. So this whole thing about struggle is very, very controversial for us as a people. And so I think in some cases, some of us are addicted to it because it becomes a badge of honor. If you ain't struggled, you ain't really Black. And so struggle and Black people go together, when in essence, struggle and people go together. But we go, okay, struggle and Black people go together. But then we define what type of struggle is respected in our circles and in our communities. And that is what I have a problem with. So yeah, the answer is yes, some people are addicted to struggle. It's a very interesting topic if you think about it. Anybody in the chat with any questions? That was the last of those that y'all texted and emailed me. Jason Stanley said it helps a lot of college graduates to collab. Oh, we covered that one. Yeah. That's when we were talking about college and trades. And also, let me say this. Something that I teach the youth that I work with is that having multiple streams of income is going to be and is very important, specifically for our youth. So be open to multiple streams of income. Don't be so restrictive with yourself. Like, this is all I'm doing. This is the only thing I'm doing. In some cases that works out for you, but in most cases, even if you go on to be a great singer, you still got to figure out how to be an entrepreneur. You still got to sing. You got to master your craft. You got to understand how to improve your voice. But at the same time, you have to know how to manage your career. You have to know what to do with the money you're making from your career. You have to know what kind of businesses perhaps you can invest in, right? So most things today are multifactorial. And what I'm noticing is that many of our youth are coming up with businesses that have wraparound services because a lot of you all are conscious entrepreneurs. Again, do not diss the older people in your life, because those older people can help you, they can give you access to customers. They may even leave their business to you. You may have enough time to work with them to learn, and then they may say, you know what, I'm going to leave my business or leave this person an aspect of the business. You might even be able to buy their business. Again, another white paper I stated and showed statistically that this is the first time in history where there are more people over 65 than there are under 30. That's heavy. So that means that we're in line for a massive transference of wealth. So find somebody older that has a business, that's in business. See if you can learn, see if you can buy their business. Maybe you can come over after work. You can start helping and supporting and becoming a part of it. And once you get yourself in a position, you can say, you know what? I would like to buy your business. It's a very, very possible, and it's a reachable goal today, where all of a sudden you can walk right into land, you can walk right into property, you can walk right into systems, you can walk right into this stuff if you play your cards right. It doesn't necessarily have to be just Black people. It can be anybody you see that's, older that you can learn from. And older people, stop dissing young people. Stop with the dissing. Stop with the negativity. Stop being a hater. I'll tell you something that, and I'm not going to tell you specifics. One day I will tell this whole story, but one of the things that made me very collaborative, not only with other people that look like me, but specifically younger women, in my circle or around. And one of the things that has always made me want to see how I can be of service and how I could help is because I had a family friend who I had tucked in the back of my mind that was an auntie, somebody who was supposed to be supportive, somebody that I thought would have my back. And that person actually was extremely mean to me, very doggish, and it hurt me. And I said to myself, even though I was never a hater before that, I said, or before I realized that, I said, I'll never be that person. So I'll be collaborative with other sisters, other brothers. I'll be collaborative with those that are younger than me. I don't diss people or hate on people. I was like, that Willie Lynch rule will not live in this atmosphere that I'm building or any of my organizations. We will not do that because I just think it's unfair and it's wrong. So these are just Q&As. These are just questions to get us thinking about certain topics. You may or may not agree with my answers. You may or may not even like my answers, and that's okay too. But the idea is to open us up and to get us thinking. All right. So I want you guys to grab my new ebook. It came out last week. It's about corporates' involvement in government and how to reduce that involvement, ways in which we can try to bring back the balance. And this week I'm coming out with, I've been working on for a few weeks, a new article on how AI is going to impact Black patients and Black healthcare workers. So AI and Black people when it comes to healthcare is the study of the new paper coming out. I will post that so you all can see it. I hope that you will continue to support the platform. We try to bring as much information out here as possible to help us govern ourselves, to help us do for self, to help us understand that separation is now multifactorial. We have to first separate culturally. And what do I mean by that? Some of the ratchetness, some of the devilishness, some of the stuff that has been out here in pop culture that we are struggling with how we interact with it. We have to just separate ourselves from it. And I'm gonna do a whole I'm gonna do another show and probably an article on cultural separation. And the whole idea is helping us to separate from pop culture. Because and a lot of people probably don't have this struggle as much as many of us who are Muslims, or if you are, I can speak from that perspective, because sometimes there's a struggle to look a certain way. There's the struggle to fit in so we can get paid. There's the struggle that we're dealing with because our children may have more access to the pop culture world, and then that brings that element into our households, and we're trying to figure out how do we navigate that? How do we draw the line? Do we take a hard line and say, no, I'm not allowing this or that? Do we let it cross the line? A lot of our children are in public school. So there's things that they probably wouldn't be doing if they went to Islamic school that they're allowed to do and participate in public school. What does that mean? And how does that impact us as we move forward in this world that is crumbling and in this world that is controlling people by our weaknesses? And what do I mean by that? And I talk a little bit about this in the paper that I'm working on. The algorithms, the AI that's building is based on behavior. It's tracking data and behaviors based on past experiences. Once that data is gathered, then you have corporations who take that information or that data and they make predictions on it. And depending upon the prediction and how they structure their business model, then follows investments, loans, venture capitalism. It's based on a lot of times data. And so sometimes there's an effort, or a lot of times there's an effort to manipulate the data by controlling and manipulating our behaviors. So you see all this stuff on the internet now where it's like black men against black women. And we saying some horribly hateful things about one another. And trust me, that creeps into our personal lives, even if we say we don't believe in it. It creeps in. A lot of us are more ruled on a subconscious level by what we see happening out in pop culture than we really want to admit. So that's an aspect of cultural separation that I want to talk about, separating us from pop culture so that we are not as dependent upon pop culture, so that we're not as insecure, so we can work together better because everything is not triggering your traumas and your insecurity. We get to the point today where if somebody don't call us back or don't answer the phone, it triggers an insecurity and we're like, oh, they got a problem with me. They think they better. Maybe they just got busy. Maybe they had some other stuff to do and it took priority over you. I had somebody in my family right now who's not speaking to me because I was in a meeting dealing with some drama on a professional level, and they texted me and I read the text, but I couldn't answer at the time. And then later, I said, okay, I'll do it. Let me do it when I get home, because I was on the way home from this client problem and we were still on the phone, and I walk in the house and this person has sent me a nasty response, having an attitude with me because they feel like I left them on red. Come on, man. These are traumas and insecurities that are going to make it impossible for us to work together. Immaturities, things like that. So we got to separate from this pop culture thing. We think in your mind how we can be a little bit more mature and stop allowing our insecurities that are being exacerbated in pop culture to ruin relationships. That's real. Very real. So, and everybody's impacted by it. Older people, younger people. You got some of these, I won't say no names, but some of these content creators and people who do these movies and series, they turning folks out. Brother Lamont said family can be difficult these days, I will admit. Yeah. But I just use that family example because it just was something that I thought about. I'm thinking about how dumb it is, that it's so dumb that it's hard for me to even consider it. And I can't even wrap my mind around feeling like that about somebody. If I texted you, Brother Lamont, and I know that there's a very strong possibility that you're in a meeting or you're doing something, or on the off chance you going through something, I'm not gonna cut up with you because I didn't hear back from you. I'm just not gonna do it because I know life be lifing. But that just comes from trauma triggered experiences that we have to separate from, because I think that a lot of them are exacerbated in pop culture. And pop culture is so strong nowadays that it creates rules and nuances and all this stuff. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a conversation about it. Not that specific incident that I had, but just the whole idea of cultural separation, because we have to separate culturally before we go into self-governance, before we go into business with one another. You have to get to this space of unconditional support, unconditional respect, and leading with respect and love. Anybody that I'm doing business with, even if you are a good friend of mine and you're a family member, I will give you just as much respect, if not more respect, than somebody that I don't even know. I'm going to maintain your confidence. I'm going to make sure that you have what you need if I can. I'm going to make sure that you're supported and that you know somebody has your back. Because the way things go today, it might be you that needs support today and me tomorrow. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to honor you. And that is one of my own personal mantras. And I've been like that throughout the entire time that I've been in business. And so I've done business with friends and family. And because I was able to take that stance, like, I don't care, no matter what, I'm going to communicate the way I should. I'm going to respect them. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to do all the things that I know I need to do. And I'm not going to take advantage of the fact that they are a friend or a family member. And some people don't operate like that. And it's difficult for them to do it because, again, these pop cultural traumas crop up. I'm jealous. I knew you back when. Or I've been secretly competing against you and I don't want you to have what I don't have. Those are things that have to dissolve if we are going to make it into the future. And the future is not 30 years from now, y'all. I'm talking about 1 to 3 years from now. You see how rapidly things are changing. You see it. And if you don't see it, you must not be living on this planet. I wrote an op-ed back when President Obama won his first race. I'll have to find out. It's called How He Did It. And one of the things I talked about in that op-ed was how things are manifesting so fast today, much faster than they did 20 or 30 years ago, or even 50 years ago. But somehow we have that old white man model in our brain and we're chasing that. But things have changed. It's been over with. Things that you do today on May 30th, 2026 may very well be exposed in 30 days. Used to be back in the day, people would go years before they would be exposed. Years. Technology is changing. The way people think is changing. Somebody that's popular today may not be popular come August, 4 or 5 months from now. Things are moving so rapidly. It's like the world has almost accelerated. And so that becomes an illusion that we have to step out of because the earth is still traveling at the same rate of speed. It's just how we're experiencing the earth that is beginning to accelerate. So again, we'll talk about these things. Okay, so go check out the ebook. Make sure you support the platform. If you like this kind of language, if you really want to come to some of our upcoming master classes at Sajdah House, please make sure you join the mailing list. If you have a commemorative Elijah coin, be sure to register your commemorative Elijah coin. Is it next week? Yeah. Next week is going to be the announcement for some of the summer events and things that are going to be going on, and some of the master classes that we're going to be having that you'll have an opportunity to come into Chicago to participate in. We're talking about real master classes, real think tanks, real situations where you'll be sitting down and being able to engage with other entrepreneurs like yourself. It's all about pushing this economic model forward in a manner that I believe pleases Allah, because it is based on the economic blueprint of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So, okay, family, happy Saturday to each and every one of you. Go out there and do something good for somebody. Support the movement. Support the movement. The Cash App is up there. This is the QR code for the Cash App. So go and support the platform, support some of the things that we're working on. We've been delaying the announcement of some of these summer events because we're just working to get them underwritten so that they don't cost as much to you. Because we really do strive to bring quality information and events to you. Every time you see me, every time we're out there, the focus is quality, quality, quality. And so, of course, we can pass that cost on to you, or we can try to find ways to underwrite it so that it's not as heavy of a burden with you. Okay, so our Sajdah oud oils are back in stock, so get some while supplies last. We're working on a distribution deal and some new packaging. So I'm excited to announce that. But for now, you can still grab it at the price. It's $50. So I'll show the commercial. I'll show you 2 commercials. Also, get your commemorative Elijah coin if you don't have it. If you do have it, make sure that you go out there and register. All right, family, happy Saturday. Make sure you love somebody today and accept your own and be yourself. Assalamu alaikum.